Billy and Terry are both on vacation today. How wonderful that we can still see Billy as on our screen. Thank you to Bill McCarran for having made this technology and so much more around here possible for us. So, just a couple of announcements. I've mentioned General Synod several times. Well, General Synod starts today with an opening worship service that is online, because the whole thing is online. There's no physical presence of General Synod this year, which is surreal, but it does make it available to the whole denomination. And the worship services are free to participate in. If you want to do the rest of it, it's only $100 as a guest for all the activities, workshops, and all of that for the week. This afternoon at 3 o'clock, the preacher is Dr. Benjamin Chavis. And that may not be a name that you're familiar with, and I want to share something about him. Chavis was part of the Wilmington 10. And I don't know how many people know their civil rights history well enough to know what the Wilmington 10 were, but it was a group of civil rights activists who were wrongly convicted of arson and conspiracy in 1972, after deadly racial conflicts in 1971 in North Carolina. Chavis was working as part of these civil rights activists as a member of the United Church of Christ. He worked for the UCC's Commission for Racial Justice as a youth organizer for the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Now, I'll give you a little aside, too. Andrew Young, familiar with his name, former mayor of Atlanta, ambassador to the United Nations. Well, if you watch enough of Dr. King's, on YouTube or whatever, you'll see that Andrew Young was often at his side. Did you know that Andrew Young is also an ordained UCC minister, and that he was paid to do that work with Dr. King by the United Church of Christ? When he went on to serve as the ambassador to the United Nations, Jimmy Carter asked him about his positions on human rights issues. And what did Andrew Young do? Handed him the position papers of the United Church of Christ General Synod. Jimmy Carter's foreign policy around human rights was directly impacted by the UCC General Synod. So, come to General Synod this week and see what we're working on now, including, I shouldn't have said that because I can't remember now, but I'm not even going to go further because I can't remember. So, back to the Wilmington 10. So, they received a 34-year sentence. The UCC came to their defense, and in 1977, the General Synod meeting in Washington, D.C. held a march outside the White House for their release. Their sentences were finally commuted in 1978, their convictions overturned in 1980, and formally pardoned by the governor in 2013. But imagine being a young person having to endure that their whole life. Chavis went on to serve as the executive director at the Commission for Racial Justice from 1985 to 1993, and our paths crossed because I worked for his agency. I worked for an agency that was made up of 5 agencies, and he was, in essence, one of my 5 bosses. He also served the NAACP, and he was the national director of the Million Man March in 1995. And now leads the National Newspaper Publishers Association. So he's a very interesting guy. He took a journey through Islam as part of his faith journey as well. He'll be preaching at the worship service this afternoon at 3 o'clock. You just go to generalsynod.org. That's all you have to do. And Valerie Carr is later in the week. I think it's maybe Wednesday, I shouldn't say. Just go to generalsynod.org and you can see the whole agenda. So, only 2 announcements today. Next Sunday is our congregational semi-annual meeting. It will take place only on Zoom at 11:30 a.m. We will gather here for worship at 10 a.m. There have been, and there are today, and there still are plenty of opportunities for you to join us in worship. Just go to our website and sign up. And speaking of sign up, this is the last few days to sign up to go to our family day at La Forêt. We need your reservation by Wednesday. Simply email the office at parkhillchurch.org. Oh, how wonderful to be in this place with the sounds of life. Thank you, Maxon, for being here and for bringing us your joyful noise. Yes, I shouldn't call it noise, those beautiful pipes. So as we go now, I bring up the question I asked earlier. Can you choose one person this week to practice wondering about? Can you listen to the story they have to tell? And if your fist tightens, or your heart beats fast, or shame rises to your face, it's okay. Breathe through it. Trust that you can. The heart is a muscle, and the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And with that, go with the peace of Christ. Have a grateful week. Amen.